Good evening, everyone. I am Jessica Monterosa, an air pollution specialist, and my work is focused in heavy-duty off-road incentive programs. I also coordinate equity and community engagement efforts with the Mobile Source Control Division Equity Workgroup. I will be facilitating the evening community meeting tonight in an effort to help with the coordination of the Clean Transportation Incentives Funding Plan, also known as the Funding Plan, share program updates, and coordinate presentations on topics of public interest. I would like to take a minute to acknowledge our team of folks that help us with the facilitation of these monthly meetings. Thank you all to the staff that helps coordinate this effort. Before we continue, there are a few housekeeping items we need to address. This meeting is being recorded and will be available on our meetings and workshops webpage in about 2 weeks, including the agenda, slides, recording, and attendee list. Staff will drop a link in the chat where this information can be found. Next slide, please. These meetings are about community and sharing information. Our meeting agreements are here to alleviate challenges and are as follows. Be respectful. Let's be kind and create a comfortable space for everyone to share their thoughts and experiences. Take space and/or make space. If you have a lot to say, great. We encourage you to ask questions. But please be mindful and leave room for others to participate as well. Listen to understand. Listen without judgment or jumping to conclusions. Finally, consider equity. We all aim to develop solutions with fairness and equality in mind. People from all over California are here to work together on the clean transportation incentives. These diverse perspectives can help us overcome barriers. With these agreements in mind, let us continue. Next slide, please. So what is the purpose of an evening community meeting? Our annual funding plan development process involves daytime public workshops and work group meetings on various incentive projects. However, we understand that community members face unique challenges attending these meetings compared to representatives from industry, government, and non-governmental organizations. So CARB continues to host monthly evening community meetings to make it easier for community members and people not associated with an organization or company to engage with us. If you represent an organization or company that can attend daytime meetings, we welcome you to listen to evening community meetings to hear individual and community concerns. However, we ask you to please save your comments and questions and share them at a daytime meeting so that evening community meetings can be a space for individuals and community members. Our goals for these meetings are to provide a space for community voices and priorities, brainstorm solutions for clean transportation needs, highlight key funding plan information, and foster ongoing communication between staff and the community. Next slide, please. For tonight's presentation, we have 3 items on the agenda. I'd like to note that slides were posted a week ago to the low carbon transportation incentive web pages and have since been revised with updated dates and web links. The most recent slides we are presenting today will be uploaded to the webpage in the coming days. First up on today's agenda, we have Andrea Morgan giving us an update on the state budget for clean transportation incentives. This will be followed by 2 presentations by Catherine Capena, who will go over the Public Workgroup Summary on Access Clean California program. And our final presentation will be a summary from a recent Clean Transportation Equity Incentive Symposium. We will have a question and answer session after each subtopic. We will now start with the first part of the presentation to update us on the Governor's May budget revision for clean transportation incentives. I will now hand things over to my colleague, Andrea Morgan. Next slide, please.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrea Morgan, and I work within the Mobile Source Control Division here at the California Air Resources Board. So as mentioned today, I am going to provide an update on where we are in the state budget process, including a description of what was included in the May revision to the governor's proposed budget. Additionally, I'll share some information on how folks can get involved and participate in the state budget process. From there, we'll open it up for questions and discussion. Next slide, please. So this slide shows how the state budget and funding plan timelines overlap over the course of a calendar year. For the purposes of today's discussion, I'm going to focus on where we are currently in the state budget process, but I'm happy to answer questions you may have on the funding plan later during our Q&A session. So to kick us off, a quick refresher on where we've been and where we are now. The state budget process began in January with the release of the governor's proposed budget, which was followed by a series of budget subcommittee hearings that began in late February and ran through the first couple of weeks of May. The purpose of these hearings was to help inform each of the legislative subcommittees on the governor's proposed budget before they submit their recommendations to the full budget committees, the Senate Budget and Fiscal Review Committee, and the Assembly Budget Committee. On May 14th, the Department of Finance issued the May revision to the governor's proposed budget, or the May revise. The May revise essentially provides an update of the general fund revenues and outlines changes in expenditures. And typically, the legislature waits for the May revise before final budget decisions. We'll briefly talk about what was included in the May revise on the next slide. The next major milestone in the budget process is June 15th, the constitutional deadline for the legislature to pass the budget. However, it is important to note that the California legislative session ends for 2025 on September 12th, and that's the last day to pass bills. Why is this important? The deadline can sometimes impact our funding plan process in that the legislature may pass a bill or several bills that amend the state budget by either adding or removing funds that were previously appropriated. Or they may also pass a bill or bills that impact program criteria and implementation. Next slide, please. So now let's talk about what was proposed in the May revision, or the May revise, and how that changed from the governor's January 10th budget proposal. Note that the May revise was just released on May 14th, and since this is somewhat late-breaking news, this slide was not included in the presentation that was posted online last week. As mentioned earlier, we will post an updated slide deck to our webpage that includes this information after the meeting, so you have access to them. Now, on to a description of the May revise. So notably, the May revise includes a proposal to extend California's existing cap-and-trade program until 2045 and to rename the program Cap and Invest. The program was first established in 2006 and reduces carbon pollution by encouraging clean technology investment from carbon emitters, and the program generates billions of dollars in proceeds to support investments in projects that further reduce carbon emissions. The proceeds from this program have been a primary source of funding for CARB's clean transportation investments. Although I should note that our program is only one of the many California climate investment programs that have put cap and trade auction proceeds to work, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, strengthening the economy, improving public health and the environment, and providing meaningful benefits to communities across the state. The May revise does not provide a detailed spending plan for the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, but instead identifies key priorities with the remaining funding to be discussed between the administration and the legislature in order to design an expenditure plan that invests the program's proceeds in transformative climate projects and other climate programs. While the May revise no longer specifically designates funding for the zero emission vehicle acceleration package or much of CARB's clean transportation incentive programs, we do expect that these programs may be part of ongoing negotiations. The May revise does propose approximately $35 million for the Air Quality Improvement Program, which funds projects to reduce air pollution from the logistics, goods movements, off-road, warehouse, and port sector, with a focus on zero-emission projects. In recent years, this funding has supported zero-emission truck loans, vouchers for zero-emission off-road equipment through the Clean Off-Road Equipment Voucher Incentive Project, or CORE, and funding to support innovative strategies to help small fleets get into zero-emission vehicles through our innovative Small E-Fleets pilot project. Next slide, please. Finally, of note, the legislature took early action to appropriate an additional $17 million for the Regional Clean Cars for All program, bringing the total appropriation to $19.8 million. Of this amount, funding was appropriated exclusively for the Regional Clean Cars for All program and will be prioritized for air districts that have insufficient funds to meet demand. This funding was appropriated through AB 100, which was signed into law on April 14th. CARB staff are currently working with the air districts to determine funding need and to get funds to the air districts that are at risk of running out of funding. Next slide, please. So this slide outlines a few ideas as to ways that you can engage in the process, including contacting your representatives, engaging on the state budget process through providing public testimony or contacting subcommittee members, as well as ways that you can engage with CARB staff as we work on developing the funding plan for clean transportation incentives. I'll let this sit up for a moment so folks can look at some of those ideas. Next slide. And finally, here's a list of a few resources as well that can help you with some of those ideas that were mentioned on the previous slide. And we certainly encourage anyone who has any questions to reach out to CARB about the funding plan process. We're happy to meet with folks individually as well as through meetings such as this. Next slide, please. And that is it for my presentation this evening. My contact information is available here, and we can open it up for questions.
Hi, folks. Good evening. My name is Robert Chester. I'm staff here at CARB and MSCD as well. Now we're going to take some questions, but before we do, I'd like to remind everybody that these evening meetings are intended for community members and individuals not affiliated with an organization or a company, so that other folks can share their thoughts. So please make space for them to speak first, if possible. Okay. So to ask a question or make a comment, use the raise hand function in Zoom, or if you are joining by phone, please press #2 to raise your hand. Please state your name and affiliation, if any, before asking a question or making a comment. Or if you would prefer to send a question or a comment via email, you may do so at cleantransportation@arb.ca.gov. Okay. Let's see. No hands yet. Anything in the inbox?
Nothing in the inbox.
Okay. Doesn't look like we have any questions or comments at this time. There will be an opportunity at the very end of the meeting to loop back to this topic or other topics in the event that you have questions later on. So I think we can proceed.
Thank you, Larry, and thank you everybody for listening to our past presentations. Again, if you have any ideas, feel free to email us. Your ideas help us improve the funding plan programs. For our next presentation, we have Catherine Capena, who will go over the public work group summary on Access Clean California. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jessica. Good evening, everybody. My name is Catherine Canepa. I'm an air pollution specialist and staff lead for the Access Clean California program at CARB. Tonight, I'm going to be providing a summary of the most recent public meeting that we had back in February and some upcoming program changes that will help us deepen the equity impacts of this program. Next slide, please. So we held a public meeting on February 26th to discuss a proposed implementation change to the Access Clean California program, which we call Access for short. If you're not familiar, the Access Clean California program is a CARB program that offers outreach and application support for folks that are interested in getting funding through one of CARB's suite of light-duty vehicle purchase incentive programs, which includes programs such as the Drive Clean Assistance Program and the Clean Cars for All program. Access Clean California aims to streamline access and coordinate outreach in priority communities. The program helps to demystify the application process for the various programs for interested people and provides hands-on case management to folks who are navigating the applications for the various incentives programs. About $22 million has gone into the program to date, which includes the most recent competitive solicitation of $5 million, which was awarded to Grid Alternatives. The program has been run by Grid Alternatives since 2018. Next slide, please. So just to provide a little bit more detail on the Access program, the first pilot phase of the project began in 2018 with the development of a statewide network of outreach partners and a streamlined application web tool called the Benefits Finder, along with case management to support applicants in using that web tool. Since then, Grid Alternatives Outreach Partner Network has grown to contain 31 nonprofit and community-based organizations throughout the state that serve priority communities. These organizations contract with Grid Alternatives and help get the word out to their communities about CARB's different incentive opportunities by hosting or attending events such as farmers markets, ride and drives, and other types of community events. To help get applicants started in the application process for incentives, they support people in using the Benefits Finder web tool. And this is a web tool that allows folks to put basic information about their income and place of residence and get a customized list of incentives that they qualify for. The case management team supports applicants once they have used the tool and have identified which programs they want to pursue and then are in the process of applying. Over time, the case management team has continued to adapt to what applicants need and to grow the number of resources they offer for walking folks through what are often complex application processes for all of the different programs. In the pilot phase of the project, Grid also started a capacity building grant program for community-based organizations. This program's goal was to provide stable funding and help build technical skills among organizations that were led by or served Black and tribal communities, and to support them in navigating the state funding landscape to better amplify their communities' needs. Participants in the program were situated to become Access Clean California outreach partners if they wanted. Next slide, please. The recent public work group summarized and reflected on the evolution of the program over the years, how it got started, where it is today, and it went through proposed changes to the program's process moving forward. To give a little history on the Access Clean California program, the application web tool, which is now called Benefits Finder, was originally envisioned as a universal application for all of the CARB consumer-facing incentive programs. Over the years, the team determined that a fully universal application was not going to be possible for many reasons. The need to streamline the application process still existed, however, so as an alternative, the team moved to a centralized income verification process where they gathered up income documents and verified that a person could get an incentive before sending them on to the individual programs. One big reason that this was helpful was to maximize the stacking of incentives, which means that an applicant could get multiple incentives from different programs to increase their savings on a vehicle purchase. Stacking incentives for a single car purchase is no longer possible since the Clean Vehicle Rebate project closed. Given changes to CARB's portfolio of incentive projects, the administrator and the CARB team have reevaluated the need to do a centralized income verification. Verifying income has always taken a lot of time and resources, but now because stacking is less relevant, it's become an unnecessary step. Moving forward, we're going to redirect those resources to other components of the work the Access Clean California team is doing to remove redundant work. They will add resources to enhance their case management offerings and will help prospective applicants get linked up to the individual incentive programs to complete their income verification checks and applications on those websites. Refocusing on the case management component of the project means more direct and targeted support for those who need some extra help. The Access team will also be able to increase the amount of funds going towards outreach. The team plans to direct more funding into their contracts with outreach partners so that these organizations can provide more hands-on support to potential applicants. Additional funding also means further expansion of the outreach partner network and the ability to get funding directly to even more community-based organizations. Ultimately, this means greater reach across the state and more applicants who need these programs hearing about them in the first place, and this has always been a foundational goal of the program. The Benefits Finder tool on the web platform will not go away, and it will continue to be used by outreach partners as a tool to help people understand what programs they can qualify for and stack. I'll note that stacking of non-CARB incentives with CARB programs may still be possible depending on where you live, even though CARB incentives cannot be stacked anymore. The core difference to the program now is that income verification will no longer be happening in the Benefits Finder portal. We discussed this proposed change with the public in the February Workgroup meeting, and we generally heard support for implementing this moving forward. Attendees' priority was that the application experience is as simple and efficient as possible for customers. So to that point, I want to really emphasize the importance that case management and outreach support can have on the applicant experience. Many of the people who could most stand to benefit from CARB's incentive programs may not be aware that these resources exist at all. Having an outreach partner network that can connect with folks at farmers markets, health fairs, and all varieties of community events is a great way to get people interested in our incentive opportunities. The outreach partners put special care into going where people already are going in their daily lives. Even once someone hears about the program, many folks who are qualified to receive an incentive may not be that savvy with a computer or familiar with applying for a program that involves a car purchase because it's pretty complicated. Having a person on the end of a phone line who can walk you through an application on a video call or text with you to answer your questions can help folks who need help navigating these systems through to the finish line and ultimately to buy a vehicle. The case management team is there to be an advocate for the customers through every stage of the process, which can take anywhere from 2 to 6 months to gather all the appropriate documents for them to complete a search for a vehicle and then get approved for a loan if they need, and ultimately purchase a car. Next slide, please. So I want to also provide a couple examples of what case management support can look like. So first, it could be information support on program offerings and the specifics. Each of the incentive programs tends to be a little bit different because they're operated by different entities throughout the state. The case management team's job is to know all these details of the differences between the programs so that applicants don't have to, and to let you know what to expect. The case management team will also communicate with you across the entire application journey and let you know if you've forgotten a document or need to take an action to keep moving forward in the pipeline. The team will also advocate for any special needs that you might have with the application process. For example, we had one client who went through the Access Care team, who we'll call Sally, and she had kind of a complex situation. She'd moved frequently, so income verification using her tax documents was challenging. She had misplaced some paperwork and had lost her password to her online bank. She considered herself to have low technology skills, but was deeply committed to getting a vehicle for herself and her family, as she was caretaking for 2 children with special needs and her elderly mother. She is the exact kind of applicant who could be supported by the case management team, who might not get to the finish line without some extra help. Sally ultimately needed help resubmitting 21 documents, which had missing or incorrect content. With the help of the case management team, who had 2 video calls, exchanged over 200 text messages, and 50 emails with her, they were able to walk her through what she needed to finally submit a successful application and purchase a car in November 2024. So this is just a few examples of what the case management team might offer. The vehicle purchase incentive programs are deeply committed to equity and to ensuring that folks who need it most are able to benefit from the programs that we have. So that concludes this portion of my presentation. Now we have some time for questions.
Hello again, folks. Robert Chester here, staff at MSCD. We're going to open the floor for questions and comments. Again, I would like to remind attendees that these evening community meetings are intended for community members and individuals that are not affiliated with an organization or a company, so that they may share their thoughts, comments, and ask questions. So please make space for them to speak first. Okay. So if you would like to ask a question or make a comment, please use the raised hand function in Zoom. If you are joining by telephone, please press #2 to raise your hand. Please state your name and affiliation, if you have any, before asking a question or making a comment. You may also email questions and comments to cleantransportation.arb.ca.gov. Not seeing any raised hands at this time. Any questions or comments in the inbox yet? No emails. Okay, thank you, Adelina. We'll hold off a moment, but I would remind folks that you will have another opportunity at the end of this presentation to ask questions and make comments. Okay, looks like we have no comments or questions at this time. I think we can move on.
Thank you, Robert. And again, everyone, if you think of any comments or questions, feel free to email us at the Clean Transportation Incentives inbox. Your ideas always help us. And for our final presentation topic, we are handing things again to Catherine Capena to present on the 2025 Clean Transportation Equity Incentives Symposium Summary.
Thank you. And hello, I'm back. I'm going to present a summary of the 2025 Clean Transportation Equity Incentive Symposium, which is an annual event hosted by CARB to reflect on our portfolio of light-duty vehicle and clean mobility incentive projects. So this event, which was our third annual symposium, was held last month on April 10th in downtown Los Angeles. Next slide, please. This year, we hosted around 200 in-person attendees and 120 virtual attendees at the symposium. Altogether, we were joined by representatives from over 130 organizations, which included community leaders, nonprofit partners, local, regional, and state government, tribal government leaders, industry, and community members. We had some great discussions about clean transportation, which included speakers sharing their experiences with implementing shared mobility programs for all different kinds of communities, challenges and opportunities in workforce development in the zero-emission vehicle field, and update on the California e-bike program and strategies for streamlining consumer incentives. We had a long lunch with a poster and a networking session, which included representatives from the California High-Speed Rail Authority, Clean Mobility in Schools projects, the Access Clean California Outreach Partner Network from the presentation prior, the Drive Clean Assistance Program team, and community partners like Comité Cívico del Valle. Our keynote speaker was CARB board member Diane Takvorian, who's been a longtime leader in the environmental justice movement, who shared her thoughts on the importance of continuing to center diversity, equity, and inclusion, and keep up efforts to clean the air despite a policy landscape that is more challenging than it's been in years. We rotate the location of the symposium each year to increase accessibility to our stakeholders and partners who live throughout the state. If you're interested in joining and didn't have a chance this year, we do hope you can make it next year. We offer travel scholarships each year for folks who might not be able to attend otherwise. The next symposium will likely also be in April of 2026. If you do want to watch any part of the symposium, we have it recorded on YouTube, and the link will be dropped in the chat. Slides are also available on the symposium website. In the meantime, we have another similar event to share that's coming up on October 2nd, the Clean Mobility Forum, and that one will be held in Fresno. While the symposium is a high-level reflection on our suite of incentive programs, which includes both clean mobility and vehicle purchase incentives, the Clean Mobility Forum focuses on the clean and shared mobility projects and features community partners sharing their experiences developing and implementing these projects. It is hosted by the Clean Mobility Equity Alliance. You can find more information about that, and the link will be dropped in the chat. Next slide, please. All right, so this concludes my portion of tonight's presentation. My contact information is here in the slide. If you have any questions about Access Clean California or the symposium, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll open it up to questions and comments now. Thank you.
Thank you yet again, Catherine. Okay, Robert Chester here, staff in MSCD at CARB. We're going to open it up for questions and comments. Again, a reminder, everyone, that these meetings are intended for community members and individuals not affiliated with an organization or a company, so that they are able to share their thoughts, comments, and ask questions. Please make space to allow them to speak first. Okay, so if you would like to ask a question or make a comment, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. If you are joining by your phone, you may press #2 to raise your hand. Please state your name and affiliation, if any, before asking a question or making a comment. And you may also email questions and comments to cleantransportationincentives@arb.ca.gov. Not seeing any hands raised yet. Not seeing any indication that there are any comments or questions via email.
Nothing in the email.
Thank you, Adelina. Okay, well, I think we can move forward, knowing that we do have another bite at the apple at the end for those of you who want to ask questions or make comments later. Jessica? Oh, you're on mute.
Now we can open it up to all questions, Robert.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions or comments on anything, now would be the time. Again, reminding you, use the raise hand function on Zoom, and then #2 if calling in by phone. Please state your name and affiliation, if you have one, before asking a question or making a comment. And you may also email questions and comments to cleantransportationincentives@arb.ca.gov. No hands at this time. No emails at this
No
time.
emails.
Thank you, Adelina. Doesn't appear to be anything this evening.
Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome.
So we'll be moving on now. Again, if you have any questions or discussion points about topics covered today, ideas for upcoming meetings, general comments, or even community-based organizations and nonprofit events, you can email us to discuss or share with other community members. And with that, we'll move on to the next slide. Thank you all again for your questions, comments, and collaborations. We appreciate your time and your ideas moving forward. Before I go over some of the future events coming up, I'd like to let everybody know about an opportunity to make your voice heard in relation to research projects that CARB funds. Through June 13th, CARB's research division is accepting research comments through a survey as it shapes the research that will be funded for the fiscal year 2026 through 2027. There are two ways to participate. The first is to take the research priority poll and select from among 12 priorities and 4 concepts and provide optional comments on items that you're interested in. The second way would be to only submit a general comment or concern about air quality or climate in your region or community. I will be dropping the link in the chat where you can submit a research comment or take the survey. Thank you, Adelina. And with that, I'll start summarizing some of our events moving forward. The evening community meetings are held every third Tuesday of the month, excluding the month of November, due to the funding plan being presented to the board. We try to do our best to keep them consistently on Tuesdays, but shift them around a day or two when need be. The next meeting will be on Tuesday, June 17th. This is a new meeting this year. We realized it would be helpful to provide community members with budget information in a timely manner to improve our collaboration and engagement and develop the funding plan in June and July. This June 17th evening community meeting is the same day as the daytime funding plan kickoff workshop, which will be recapped in the evening community meeting. We will also cover other topics in our June 17th evening community meeting. Other meetings regarding funding plan topics will be held throughout June and even in July, and we try to post these dates in advance here for you to review. You can find more information about these events in our low carbon transportation webpage. Staff will drop the link for you to learn more about our next meetings and for you to find out how to register online. Additionally, we want to remind everyone that we have an open door policy, especially for those most affected by our incentive projects. We encourage you to request to meet with our staff to discuss your needs, concerns, and potential solutions. Please fill out our online form to request a one-on-one meeting. This link will also be shared in the chat. This is a tiny URL because the office forms have a very long URL. Next slide, please. Thank you all again for being here today. Please contact us. Okay. With any questions or concerns. I do see I have a raised hand here before we log off. So let me see if I could enable that.
I got it.
Thank you, Robert.
So Miguel Martinez, I have unmuted you. Please go ahead and identify yourself and your affiliation and provide your comment or question.
Miguel Martinez with Go Power EV. I was wondering, who is the Grid Alternatives contact for EV and EVCS outreach?
Catherine?
They have a fair number of folks who work in that general realm. I can maybe connect with you offline to understand a little bit better who you're trying to reach, and I can share some names. I can also share the project manager for the access Clean California team, which is who we primarily work with.
And
If you
that'd be
want
great.
Cool. Okay. How about I put my emails in the chat? If you want to reach out to me, that's catherine.canepa@arb.ca.gov.
.ca.gov.
Yeah, at arb.ca.gov.
Okay.
Thanks, Miguel.
Okay. Thank you, Miguel and Robert. And before I log off, I also have a request from CARB staff to share an in-person event. It's the one-stop truck event held in Oakland this upcoming event, and these are in-person events where you can engage with CARB staff. So I will be dropping the link for information about the one-stop truck event. Okay, thank you, everybody. Again, you can reach us at cleantransportationincentives.gov to request one-on-one meetings. You can email us for comments, general questions, and we will also be sharing the funding plan engagement opportunity link in the chat just momentarily before ending the meeting. We are here to listen and we'll do our best to help. Thank you all for spending your time with us today.